Hey, it's Emily and welcome back to EA Tarot. Today we are going to discuss a little deck list compilation for exploring and traversing the territory of rage. Before we get into it, I do have 8 decks. So this isn't going to be like a huge list, but it's still a really decent list, and I have blended, I feel like, very nicely. I have blended mass market decks and indie decks to accommodate price ranges and accessibility, because not all decks are, financially accessible for everyone. Obviously, they can get pricey really, really quickly. So I have a good number of mass market decks on the list as well, just to make it more relatable and accessible for everyone watching. Okay, so let's talk about rage. Rage is a topic that I feel like it is not talked about enough ever, whether it's in like the tarot and witchy realms or it's like mainstream media. It's just not discussed at all, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wrote a Substack post a couple weeks back discussing rage and sacred rage and my exercises and inspirations for getting to know rage and integrating rage. And then in that article, I also gave you guys a deck list. So I'm going to be going over just that deck list part today. Now, if you want the full shebang, the full exercises, how to do the exercises, working through them, and all of my inspirations and the deck list, okay, you're going to have to become a paid subscriber on my Substack to access all of the information. So it's not like if you watch the video, you're going to be getting the entire newsletter, I guess you could say, over here, because that's just not the way it works. So if you're interested in the full article, and it is quite lengthy, I will drop it into the description box below. But to access everything, obviously it is paywalled content, and so to access everything on my Substack, it's just $8 a month. And I mean, if you feel called to or aligned with becoming a paid subscriber, I would totally appreciate it, but obviously absolutely no pressure whatsoever. I did want to do a little ragey deck list video here, so that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm just going to get right into it with a deck that you guys are probably not surprised by, and so yeah, I'm gonna just go for it. I'm gonna start. I have 2 of these decks are not in their box because they are decks that I am currently or always work with. And if you're new here, this is the Witch's Tarot. It's a deck that I love and adore, and it's in a lot of my videos, a lot of my content here and Instagram and on Substack. So figure I'll start here because this deck probably is no surprise to many of you. Before I get into it though, this deck does contain full frontal feminine nudity. If that's not your jam, please use the timestamps below and jump ahead to a different deck. So I obviously have pulled and selected the Witch's Tarot as a way to explore rage through the lens of feminine rage. Okay, this is something that I personally feel like if you have a uterus, it is something you most likely experience, right? And so the Witch's Tarot is just a really, really phenomenal deck for tapping into feminine rage and learning where yours stems from, learning how to integrate it, and really kind of putting emotions into like how we experience them in our daily life. Like sometimes it's hard to tie an emotion into an action, and I feel like the Witch's Tarot does a really, really great job of that. So I have obviously included this one on the list. If you feel like specifically you are really needing to understand, or you're being called to work with or integrate aspects of feminine rage. And so yeah, this is a really good deck to have if that's something you go through. Honestly, I feel like when I have my deck and my journal and a solid pen, like we're unstoppable. And so yeah, this is just one of those decks that I really, really love. I use it for everything, but yeah, I mean, sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, I use it for everything. I think it's a beautiful deck, but I think it's really, really potent when you're learning to integrate feminine rage into your life and understand it and realize why it's there and what can you learn from it. What does it have to teach you? What are you not seeing about this rage that needs to be brought to the surface so you can fully understand it and either fully integrate it or release the parts of it that no longer serve you. So this is the Witch's Tarot by Chris Metzen over at Burning Paper Hearts. I do have so many videos of this deck on the channel, and if I can remember, I will absolutely drop them into the description box below. So, moving on to the second deck that is out of its box, but it is such an important deck to me, is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. I love this deck. I don't think there's any surprise there either. This is a mass market deck, whereas the Witch's Tarot is an indie deck. It's a little bit of an investment deck. I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, it has obviously a little bit higher price point. I can't remember exactly the price point of it off the top of my head, but the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Kranz is a mass market deck. You can find it on Amazon, and it has a phenomenal guidebook. I don't always pay attention to or care for guidebooks in complete and utter transparency, but all of Kim Kranz's decks have absolutely the most glorious guidebooks with loads and loads and loads of information in there. So definitely, yeah, if you have any Kim Kranz decks, highly recommend utilizing them with the guidebook, but especially this Archetypes deck. So I like this deck because it gives us the ability to explore specific aspects of ourself through archetypal imagery and archetypes in general. So this would be a good deck to use to explore your rage or even learn how to integrate your rage. If you are really comfortable with Carl Jung and kind of that psychological aspect, a lot of people in this community, I feel like, really jive and have like a Carl Jung viewpoint when it comes to magic and ritual and witchcraft and all of that. And so if that's kind of like how you view your world, this would be a phenomenal deck for you to explore your rage with. And again, it's always important to see, where does it stem from? Why is it there? Why do you feel this way? How is it currently, manifesting in your day-to-day reality? How can you resolve it? How can you integrate it? This is a phenomenal deck for that if you really enjoy archetypes and you really click with, an archetypal worldview, I guess. So yeah, this is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Super potent tool anytime you use it, but I think when you pair it with something like Rage, it just really, really shines. This deck has a ton of depth to it, and like I said, the guidebook is phenomenal, so don't skip out on that. Definitely one to utilize the deck with the guidebook, and you will get so much information out of it. But let's keep moving forward. We are going to get into my decks that are in boxes because I have pulled them out specifically for this video. Right off the top here, we have the Murder of Crows Tarot. This is another mass market deck. I love this deck. This is one of my first tarot decks. I've had it for so long. Yeah, it's just aesthetically, it's gorgeous. It's not for everybody, and so if you don't care for the imagery, that's totally fine. It's a really, really dark themed deck. We have a mainly black, white, and gray scale deck. It's there's not a lot of color to it or any at all. But I love this deck. This is a Los Scarabeo deck. It does have multiple languages in the guidebook. Like I said, it is mass market. It is available on Amazon. But when it comes to using this deck for rage and for sacred rage and for integrating rage and understanding your rage, I think if you are trying to befriend and kind of get on the same level as your rage, because obviously it's clear that I personify a lot of things, and I think that just comes with having an animistic worldview. I personify a lot, and if you're trying to befriend your rage and understand your rage, I think the Murder of Crows Tarot is a phenomenal deck for this. This is a deck that I often refer to it. I swear to Goddess, I refer to this deck as Janice Ian from Mean Girls. Yeah, like the classic goth girl, but she's low-key like your best friend. I don't know. That's what this deck feels like to me. And so it does give very, very, very practical, solid advice, but it's not mean, despite its very confrontational imagery. So it looks more intense than what it is. This is my experience of it, is it looks a lot more intimidating and intense than what it is, but typically that's what rage is, right? Like, if we are to peel back rage, at the bottom of it, at the very core of it, is usually hurt and sadness. And so, but we learn to mask it, right? And then when we mask it and then we feel angry about it and then we let that anger cultivate, it becomes rage. And so, yeah, if you're trying to befriend your rage and you want to receive advice from your rage and you want to kind of understand it more, like as a friend, and kind of really see why it's there, and see maybe if you can get to the bottom of what's causing the sadness or what's causing the hurt, this is a really, really great deck for that. And so, yeah, this is the Murder of Crows Tarot. This is my Janice Ian deck. I really love it. Moving along, we have, let's see. Plus, I really love this box for this deck. This is like a super cool box. It's really, really fun. I enjoy it. Okay, so now moving along, I am going to, let's hop over here to Tarot of the Abyss. So this is a deck that is fairly new. I got it in January of this year, I believe. This is another mass market deck. As you can see, it is also another black and grayscale deck. I really do enjoy this lack of a color palette, I guess you could say. Sorry. Yeah, so Tarot of the Abyss. I think this is a really, really good deck for exploring rage if rage makes you feel isolated. And if you feel like absolutely nobody else understands what it is that you're going through, I think you would get a lot out of Tarot of the Abyss, because we do have a lot of white space in the imagery of these cards. I think it's really, really relatable to feel alone. Move that out of my way. To feel alone and isolated. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's just something about this sketch work too. I really love this world card. There's just something about the sketch and the way that this deck is drawn that it feels cool, like temperature-wise cold, and it feels isolating. It feels like nobody else quite understands what it is that you're going through. And so if your rage makes you feel like that, and it comes from a world of isolation and desperation and a lack of what you feel like would be like a lack of love or a lack of intimate relationships, whether that's parental or with a partner or family or whatever it is that stems from for you. I think you would get a lot out of the Tarot of the Abyss. So yeah, this is a deck that I would absolutely recommend if your rage makes you feel isolated and like nobody else understands you or where it's coming from, or maybe you've tried to discuss the fact that you are feeling these things and people have shut you down because it's kind of like a taboo thing to talk about, which is so ridiculous in my personal opinion, and which is why I am making the content that I am, because I want this to be a healthy discussion. I want people to normalize rage and normalize talking about it and working through it, because clearly as a society we just suppress that shit far longer than it's ever needed. And so I love this Four of Swords. Yeah, Tarot of the Abyss. If your rage makes you feel isolated, Tarot of the Abyss, you guys. To keep things moving along, we are going to, let's see, we're going to pull from the Any Means Necessary Tarot. Okay, so a lot of these decks that I'm showing you, I actually have unboxings of on the channel. If I can remember, I will try to link them into the description box below, so you can just go to the description box, and if you saw a deck that you liked and you want to see it in further detail, you totally can. But yeah, This is the Any Means Necessary Tarot. This is a very, it has confronting imagery that not everyone else might jive with, and that's okay. So, I think that this is a deck, and it pairs really, really well with one of the other decks on this list, and I'll let you know which deck that is. I might try and pull it next, actually. But this is a deck that I think you will get a lot out of if you need help personifying and putting a face to your rage, okay? Sometimes it can be hard to understand it if we don't really know what it looks like, and if you have trouble understanding what it looks like, you know. Sometimes it's easier to give it a face and to give it a name, and then you can communicate with it, right? And then you can learn to work with it and integrate it, and again, understand why it's there and what you can do to resolve it. And so this is a great deck for that. And honestly, I think this is a really great deck for anything within the realm of mental health. I think this is an incredibly potent deck. But yeah, if you need help personifying it so you can understand it and take it from like an abstract idea into a single image, the Any Means Necessary Tarot is directly for you. Again, the imagery is not for everybody, but I think that's the point. You know, it's one of those ones where it's not super mainstream. Not everybody's going to have this deck, because I'm sure people, you know, it takes a very selective group to enjoy the imagery. But when it's confronting, I love this death card. I really do. When it's confronting, there's something there that you are learning from it. And so, yeah, if you need help personifying your rage and understanding it, Any Means Necessary Tarot is absolutely the way to go, in my opinion. Plus, I love this edging. Like, this is gorgeous. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pull the next deck that I had that I think it works really, really well with. Hold on. Okay. So this is the Any Means Necessary Tarot by Sean Koss, and I do have an unboxing of that. I recently did an unboxing of this deck, and it gives me the same vibes almost as the Any Means Necessary Tarot. This is Syrian Shadows Mass Market Edition, Rockpool published Shadow of Darkness Oracle. Yeah, this one's good. This one's good, but it's also one that the guidebook is really, really good for too. So let's have a little look-see. Here we are. So again, if you want to further explore your rage and you need to personify it, I think this deck is really good, as well as the Any Means Necessary. But if you were to put these two decks together, maybe pull one card from each deck and kind of start a journaling session there, you might uncover a lot about yourself that you didn't know. Now, this is a very intentional shadow work deck. Obviously, these are all going to be in some form or another shadow themed decks, because exploring rage is not for the light of heart. It is very dark, deep, and transformational work. It's not to be taken lightly. You have to give yourself a lot of love, a lot of grace, a lot of understanding. There's a level of intensity to it that is absolutely it's there regardless if you want to acknowledge it or not, I guess. And so, yeah, I think this deck's really good for, again, personifying it, but also learning how to integrate it. So if we are to look into the guidebook, we do have this deck broken into a few different parts. Let me try and find it. Hold on. Okay. So for this deck, it says, okay, so prior to a reading, identify points of resistance such as fears or traumas, as this guidebook's ability to help you navigate your challenges will only be applicable after identifying these points. Before turning to the messages in the guidebook, it's crucial to confront discomfort and consider the significance in your life of the demons and darkness the cards represent. So we have projection cards, okay? So the projection cards reveal demons that are influencing and perpetuating negative attributes or behaviors. Negative associations, such as the guarded or defenseless cards, are amplified by demons. The encumbrance cards, however you want to say it. It refers to being obstructed or hindered. Cards with positive significance are blocked by demons and require growth or assertion. Examine past experiences and lessons learned from these obstructed aspects, then reflect on how to handle future situations and respond differently if you feel you handled them poorly in the past. So I really like that we have this like different projection and encumbrance cards. I think that that's really interesting, and because we have that, it's really, really important. I think you'll get a lot out of this deck specifically if you utilize it with the guidebook. And then down here it says the cleansing and attunement. Everyone adds energy to a deck, thus it's critical to cleanse your deck if someone else handles it or you let them shuffle your cards. That's just like Tarot 101, I guess you could say. But yeah, we have our projection cards, and then back here we have the encumbrance cards. So I think that if you are to utilize this deck with the Any Means Necessary Tarot and the Shadow of Darkness Oracle Guidebook, chef's kiss. I think that's going to be really, really important if you kind of need help to personify, and identify your rage and where it stems from. So, also, if you're like a metalhead, I'm not, but I do appreciate the art in both of these decks. And so, if you're a metalhead though, this deck was created inspired by that kind of like death metal, which I love. I love that our creator of the deck gifted us a deck like that. But yeah, you might be really pulled to it if that's kind of like your vibe. So 2 decks left. I'm going to keep going. I don't want this to be too long. Circle of Doors Tarot. I love this deck. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have a full unboxing of her on the channel. Again, if I can remember, I'll drop it into the description box. This is an indie deck. It is a little bit higher of a price point than the last, 3 decks I've done. I don't know if I said it, but Shadow of Darkness is available on Amazon. It is a mass market deck, Rockpool published. So, just so you know. Circle of Doors Tarot. Let me talk to you guys quickly about this one. I absolutely love this deck, okay? This is a deck that, for me, it is so... I have so much love and respect for this tarot deck. I don't even know. It is one that I contemplated putting on the list, but I was like, you know what? I am going to do it. I think if you come from a family who experiences generational rage, okay, and that's kind of like the lens that you view your rage and where it stems from, the fucking Circle of Doors Tarot will absolutely clarify, solidify, and help you integrate everything that you need in order to have a better understanding and control and idea of your rage. This is, for me, it's a very generational themed deck. This goes back many, many generations. I feel like when you connect with the Circle of Doors Tarot, you are connecting with grandmothers and grandfathers from many, many, many moons ago. And so maybe rage is something that everyone in your family experienced, or a lot of people in your family experience. You come from a very ragey, angry, vengeful, intense family line. You might really like working with and understanding your rage with this deck. Obviously, because of this video and because of the Substack post that I wrote, I have obviously been exploring my own rage, and I have learned a lot from it this year. And I just kind of got to the point where I was tired of ignoring it and suppressing it. And I really, really, really wanted to understand why it was there and what it had to teach me. And this is still something that I'm working on. It's not like I have done all the work and now I can come back and talk to you guys about it. No, I am still doing the work. I will probably always be doing the work, but I just wanted to share with you like decks that you might align with while you are also doing the work, or if you feel called to it. So, Circle of Doors Tarot, you guys, it's all about that generational rage. It's about angry family bloodlines. It's about maybe you had people in your family lines and they did terrible things, whether it was, 50 years ago, 10 years ago, 150 years ago. You're going to uncover a lot with this deck. So, with Death on top, I'm going to leave it there. That is the Circle of Doors Tarot. And now I think we just have one deck left, and it's a little bit more of a lighthearted one, I guess. I feel like we've been getting really intense over here in this video. And I'm here for it. I love that, obviously. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the Horror Tarot. This is a Todd Alcott's deck. It is, it's fun, okay? I don't even know what else to say about this one. This is a deck that it comes like this. This is printed on every box. No one freak out. This is a deck that it's fun for fall time, right? Obviously, but it's also a super good deck if you are into like vintage horror and you're kind of more of like a movie buff, or you love your vintage books and reading, and you kind of want to explore your rage through a lens that you're familiar and comfortable with. This is a deck for you. Mine is severely warped because of how I shuffle, but it's also just kind of like I'm gonna just say crappy cardstock. I love the deck. I just think that the cardstock is crappy. So, but yeah, this is a really fun deck if you're trying to explore your rage through, like I said, a lens that you're familiar with, and you love vintage horror, you love vintage movies, you love vintage books, maybe comic books. I don't know, whatever your jam is, but this is a really, really fun deck. This is a mass market deck, so it does have a affordable or more affordable price tag than, say, the Circle of Doors Tarot or the Witches Tarot. There's a lot that can be picked up from this deck with each card because we have so many words on here. And I really like that. So it's one that I would say if you're new to the tarot, you could totally use it. But yeah, if you're just someone who wants to explore rage and anger through a lens that you are comfortable with seeing it because it's familiar to you, then this is one that I would highly recommend because I think it's so much fun. But yeah, that is the Horror Tarot. I love this. I love the Six of Pentacles too. It doesn't do really good with my ring light, so it does have like a glossier cardstock. It does have like that cereal box cardboard cardstock, which is why mine is so warped from shuffling, but it's okay. Yeah. Love it. King of Swords. That was my last deck, you guys. What are we at? We are at almost, like 35 minutes. 36 minutes. We were really good. Let's see. Okay. Well, that's all of my ragey decks, I guess. Let me just pull them out for a quick second so you guys can have a little look-see. I will say, obviously it's getting a lot closer now, and I don't know about you, but I am officially in my fall vibes. We are in late August, and I mean, I'm here for it. I think it's fall. It's fall to me, and that's what matters. So I'm going to be having, obviously, some very fun fall and witchy themed deck list videos coming up. I think so many people here are, because how can you not? This is literally like the time of year that we live for. And so definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little ragey chat, I guess you could say. Like I said, if you want to access the entire Substack post where I talk about literal physical exercises, that you can do to get to know and understand and pinpoint your rage, I'm going to drop that into the description box below. Please consider becoming a paid subscriber there. It really, really helps. If you've watched this video all the way through, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. I don't know. I see my analytics. You guys are watching and not subscribing. So just subscribe. It helps. It costs you nothing, and it helps the channel so much. But you guys, I appreciate you for spending your finite time with me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.